itself as being transformational, relationships, and collaboration. And when I met Ken just very early, I felt a sense of sincerity about what he was saying. And so my fourth dimension, if you will, regarding Ken Janke, thank you, is that of sincerity. Ken Janke.
Thank you. I know all of you, just like myself, have had a wonderful time today. We've had ourselves filled up emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And I know that as you listen to me talk, which was drawn out at my table tonight at dinner, that you might be able to tell there is a little bit of a southern accent that when I get tired, it starts to come out more and more. And that would be because I am from Dallas, Texas. And I tell people that while I wasn't born here in New Haven, I got here as quick as I could. I moved here to New Haven about almost 7 years ago, and I moved into the neighborhood of Fairhaven. And it was quite a big adjustment for me and my wife and, well, our 4 kids at the time. They're now 18, 16, 14, and 12, but 7 years ago, they were a lot younger then. And it was quite a big adjustment because we moved from, you know, a white neighborhood, suburban, white picket fence, into a urban city and with an ethnically diverse community at best, and a lot of peculiar things that were unusual for my kids. Everything from, you know, violence and drugs and prostitution, and a lot of confusion for them growing up, as you can imagine. When I got here to New Haven, because I had fallen in love with her, I felt like, you know, cities are like women. You have to know them before you can touch them. And so I spent a good year just getting to know New Haven. I would walk in the neighborhoods and I would find somebody and I'd say, "Hi, I'm from Texas. Tell me about New Haven." And they would look at me kind of odd, and then they would answer a few questions. And if it was a good day, I'd get them to walk me through their neighborhood. And I spent a year, I read everything I could. I learned everything I could about the city. I wanted to know it because there's something that drives me as a transformational person. And that is that I really believe that cities, places have redemptive purposes to them. And one of my passions is to help my city discover her redemptive purpose and live it fully. So this all began living in Fairhaven, and I was trying to figure out, what do I do with myself on a daily basis? And I started walking around my neighborhood, and there were 3 quick lessons that came to me. One, that whatever my mission or my pursuit was, mission was not something I do to people, it's something I do with people. The second lesson that came was that most people will never take the risk to initiate and to step out with whatever they're dreaming to do to make a change or to make a difference in their community if they don't feel like they're supported. And so the first time I walked up to one of my neighbors and asked them what was the dream that they held in their heart for their community or for their city, and they told me, I found myself compelled to say, well, I'll do that with you, which took me on a journey of the language of stewarding dreams. And I began to just ask others what they wanted to do and then say, well, you don't have to do that alone, I'll do it with you. The third lesson that came fast was that once people did have the courage to initiate, the next thing that often came was, well, a sense that I don't have everything that I need in order to accomplish this thing, especially if I'm going to drill down deep enough to tackle the systemic issue that I hope to be about. And so unless I was there to help surround them with people from diverse backgrounds, with interesting skills and knowledge bases that they could draw on, that they could go to for help and support, it was going to be hard work going forward. And it was out of these learnings that I, back on September the 9th of last year, decided, you know, if if it can work in a neighborhood, a community, which I have been serving for the last few years as the chair of the Chatham Square Neighborhood Association in my community, which is a really beautiful, dynamic community of people, of now about 150 individuals who are working together in community and in relationship to see our neighborhood transformed. The one thing I can say is in 6 years, I can honestly say it's possible to transform your community. When I came here and I said, you know, I want to see my city see her redemptive purpose realized, you know, when you say things like that, that's like saying, how do you eat an elephant, right? You know, and the saying is, well, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. And so for me, it was like, well, I don't know about all that, but I can at least start on my block, you know, and then I can go to my neighborhood. And I found amazing people that were there, that were willing to roll up their sleeves and sacrifice and serve and give themselves. And that inspired me. And what it inspired me was on September the 9th of last year was to open a space in downtown New Haven here called The Grove. And we call it The Grove because of the idea of this being the Elm City, and the idea that, you know, in a grove of trees there can be an interconnectedness that is sometimes not necessarily seen but exists, and gives strength to the towering trees that burst from the soil. And in New Haven, in a place called The Grove, a new kind of social space in New Haven, we've been gathering people from all kinds of different backgrounds and knowledge bases that have come into our space and made their home there. And The Grove has become a place where people can meet one another, can find support in the work or the project that they're trying to initiate. They can even launch a business, or an idea for a business can be birthed and incubated out of the space. People come in and we provide them with workspace. We provide them with all the amenities that they would find in a professional office, everything from private office as well as what we call hot desks that are just available for when you walk in, you just sit down wherever there's an open spot and go to work. And we have all the printing and all the coffee and tea and hospitality that you can manage when you come into The Grove. It's a place where we believe that through the power of collaboration, the power of support, and the power of diversity, that we can, in fact, inspire a social mission movement in our city. And we've tried to work intentionally in the aim of bringing together both nonprofits and for-profits under the same roof. So while we might have someone there who's strictly there to make profit, we always inspire them and say, is it possible that you might think about what it looks like to be a social entrepreneur? And then what might that look like for you to think in terms of more than just the profit and loss statement, but the benefit for our city and our communities and our friends. So The Grove has been the way that I've been trying to inspire deeper change in New Haven.